In a rundown foster home that echoes the forgotten laughter of children, 12-year-old Clara often feels like a ghost drifting through the faded memories of her past. The peeling wallpaper and creaky floorboards resonate with whispers of abandonment, and she wanders the hallways, invisible to those around her, burdened by an ache she carries in silence. Days blend into nights. The heavy weight of loneliness wraps around her like a familiar shroud, isolating her from the world. Abandoned by her mother before she could grasp the enormity of that loss, Clara learned early on to build a wall around her heart, a shield forged from the raw sensation of being alone in a crowded room. On a crisp autumn evening, the air alive with the smell of damp earth and falling leaves, Clara laces her worn sneakers and ventures into the nearby woods, craving the solace of solitude. Each step sinks into the carpet of leaves, a quiet crunch that barely breaks the hushed atmosphere. The woods have become her sanctuary, a retreat from the eyes that overlook her in the foster home where her existence feels like an afterthought. As she wanders deeper into the embrace of the trees, away from the sterile routines of her daily life, a glimmer of hope tinged with possibility beckons from the underbrush. Stumbling upon an old tattered envelope partially buried beneath the leaves, Clara kneels to uncover the mystery hidden beneath nature's decay. Dust particles dance in the soft light as she brushes away the layers of time, revealing a fragile message nestled in her hands. The contents within the envelope send a jolt through her chest, a sensation that blends disbelief with a whisper of something akin to excitement. Inside, a letter speaks of a moss-covered castle left to her by her late mother, a structure steeped in secrets and silent stories waiting to be unraveled. The realization unfolds like the leaves around her, vibrant yet daunting, igniting a flicker of curiosity about a past that felt forever out of reach. What kind of life had her mother led? The castle looms in her mind, not just as an inheritance, but as a bridge to the person Clara yearns to understand. It feels like a piece of a puzzle she never knew she was meant to solve. If you can relate to the ache of longing for a sense of belonging, consider liking and subscribing. Someone else might need to hear this story today. With the castle's visage haunting her thoughts, the loneliness she felt begins to crack, revealing the first beams of light in a life marked by uncertainty. Clara's heart races as she imagines stepping through its weathered doors, wondering what echoes of her mother's laughter might still linger in the grand halls. With each creak of the floor as if coaxing her deeper into the mystery, she can't help but feel a sense of destiny intertwining with her solitude. Perhaps this castle holds the key to understanding her own life, her own journey, and in those overgrown gardens brimming with wildflowers, there may be a part of her mother waiting to be discovered, as well as a part of Clara herself yet to be unveiled. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting shadows that dance around her, Clara clutches the envelope close to her heart, feeling the possibility swell within her chest. The path before her, once shrouded in uncertainty, begins to clear, propelling her toward the next chapter of her life that might finally illuminate the darkness. In that moment, with the woods whispering secrets all around her, Clara takes a deep breath, ready to embark on a journey that promises to reshape her understanding of not just who her mother was, but who she can become. The layers of time wrap around Clara as she stands at the precipice of discovery, her mind drifting back over the years she has spent feeling like a forgotten shadow among the vibrant lives around her. Memories flood her consciousness, enveloping her in a warmth that feels foreign yet tinged with longing. She recalls the stark and sterile walls of the orphanage where she was first placed, the smell of disinfectant mingling with the faint whisper of hope and dreams that seemed to slip through her fingers like grains of sand. Over time, those walls grew to be like a prison. She confounded herself trying to make sense of a world where she had no roots, no family to call her own. The night spent listening to the soft murmurs of children around her, their laughter echoing in the air, only served to deepen her isolation. In the privacy of her small, stark room, Clara clutched a worn teddy bear, the only remnant of what had once felt like home, and allowed herself moments of dreaming. Dreams that faded away with each day that passed. As she lay on her thin mattress, stars squeezed between the cracked windows, she often pondered the face of the woman she almost remembered, the mother who had cradled her in her arms only to vanish into thin air. Was she shrouded in mystery or simply lost to the unrelenting currents of life? Clara's thoughts plunge deeper when she recalls the day she first learned about abandonment. It was a dull morning, the mundane drone of children in the background contrasting sharply with the heaviness settling in her chest. The caretaker had gathered them, announcing the news as though it were merely a trifle. "Your parents aren't coming back," she said clinically, and that simple sentence unraveled the fabric of Clara's young heart, revealing a truth she never wanted to confront. Pain had become a constant companion, echoing in the empty corners of her spirit and wrapping around her heart like a steel chain. Time passed, and Clara moved from one temporary home to another, each without a trace of stability. With every new place came the tantalizing hope of a family, followed by the inevitable disillusionment when foster parents decided they couldn't handle the burden of a child whose heart had already become so heavy with loss. She often lingered in the shadows of the households that surrounded her, watching as families laughed together, safe in their bonds. She craved to feel the warmth of a mother's embrace, but was left to navigate the chilly corridors of her own imagination. With each transition, Clara tightly held on to the few possessions she could call her own, a small collection of items that barely filled a shoebox. The frayed edges of a photograph captured a fleeting moment with her mother, a memory painted in soft colors of laughter lost to the tides of time. Every tiny fragment represented the life she never had, a future she yearned for but felt perpetually out of reach. The connection she sought lay buried beneath layers of heartache that anchored her down, leaving her estranged from the world and her own aspirations. Each day, she slipped into the rhythm of life at the foster home, blending into the background like a muted shade, an invisible force. Clara often insisted on silence, preferring to observe rather than engage. Books became her escape, filling her mind with fantastical worlds where love and belonging existed without the jagged edges of her own. Yet an unmistakable ache gnawed at her, an emptiness that echoed the chambers of her heart, melancholic notes playing a dirge for a past that slipped through her grasp. Now, standing beneath the canopy of leaves with the envelope that revealed her inheritance, Clara felt the flicker of a potential change in her life. The past weighed heavily upon her shoulders, but the discovery of the castle ignited a series of questions, an invitation to sift through the ashes of her history and construct something new. What tales lay etched within the weathered walls of that guardian structure? How could those spaces housing memories change her narrative? The words inscribed in her mother's journals beckoned like guiding lights in a sea of darkness, urging Clara to seek deeper truths woven into the fabric of her reality. In vivid moments of bittersweet clarity, Clara began to grasp the intricate tapestry of her mother's life, unraveling silent echoes of sorrow and resilience. Hidden behind her mother's choices were layers of love and sacrifice that shaped not only her existence but had formed Clara as well. As dusk faded into the twilight, she carried with her the scent of damp earth and the possibility that she could confront her mother's legacy, embracing both the fragility and strength woven together in a dance she never knew existed. The path ahead may prove daunting, but the fledgling flicker of hope fueled Clara's heart, and in leaving behind the shadows of her past, she stood ready to confront a future colored by comprehension and acceptance. The castle awaited her, standing tall and proud, a monument to her mother's journey and a harbinger of Clara's own. It was time to step beyond the confines of isolation and loss, to weave new threads of connection that would allow her spirit to flourish at last. The promise of healing lay before her, beckoning her to unearth the hidden layers that would transform both her understanding of her mother and herself, bridging the chasm of their shared legacy. As the days unfold, anticipation builds within Clara, her heart wrestling with excitement and anxiety for her journey to the castle. Autumn's vibrant colors shift to muted browns, mirroring her emotions as she prepares for this momentous occasion. Each night, she finds herself tracing the contours of the envelope that holds her inheritance, a connection to a mother she never truly knew. What stories lie within the castle's walls? What memories await her? Her thoughts swirl, a tempest of curiosity mixed with the desire to uncover the truth about her past. Finally, the day arrives. Clara slips away early in the morning, her heart racing as she makes her way to the train station. Sunshine breaks through the early morning fog, illuminating her path, and with each step she feels the weight of her past lift slightly. The train ride is a blur, the scenery of rolling hills and thick woodlands rushing past her window, and with every mile, Clara's determination grows stronger. She is finally heading towards a place that could help her understand the intricacies of her mother's life. Arriving at the castle, its grandeur takes her breath away, the imposing structure rising majestically against the backdrop of a pale sky. Clara hesitates, feeling both awe and fear of what she might find inside. The heavy iron gates creak open, inviting her into a world filled with echoes of history. The air is thick with the scent of stone and moss, a blend of age and abandonment. She steps through, her footsteps muted against the flagstone, each sound inviting her to explore the depths of this familial legacy. As she meanders through the castle, Clara feels a palpable energy, as if the walls breathe around her. Dust dances in the sunlight, filtering through the grimy windows, making the air shimmer. Shadows inch past delicate tapestries, and portraits with eyes that seem to follow her pique her imagination. The sense of isolation she has carried for so long begins to shift, replaced by an undeniable connection to the past. Drawn to a room that feels more alive than the others, Clara discovers an old desk tucked in the corner, partially hidden beneath a shroud of dust. Gathering her courage, she brushes the surface free of debris. As she does so, her fingertips locate a hidden compartment. Heart pounding, she gently pries it open, uncovering a collection of journals bound in worn leather. Their crinkled pages beckon her closer, and when she reads the first entry, she is taken aback. Her mother's name leaps from the page, a lifeline to a woman whose life was shrouded in mystery. As Clara immerses herself in the journals, she is swept away by her mother's words. They spill out stories of dreams, aspirations, and heartaches, painting a picture of a young woman caught in a web of struggles and choices, revealing the beautiful and painful complexity of her life. She learns of her mother's longing for a family and the burdens that accompanied her decisions, the sacrifices made out of love, the heartache of separation. Each page resonates deeply within Clara, echoing her own feelings of loss and longing. As the intricate tapestry of her mother's life unwinds before her, Clara realizes that what she once perceived as abandonment was, in truth, a series of desperate attempts to carve out a better future. The raw emotion behind each word strikes her like a lightning bolt. For the first time, she sees her mother not as a figure of loss, but as a woman who faced her battles with resilience. Clara's heart fills with empathy for the woman she has mourned, and she no longer feels the bitter sting of betrayal, but instead the warmth of understanding. Time flows by unnoticed as she flips through the pages, with each story intricately stitching together moments of beauty and pain. Clara feels the weight of the castle shift from a place of isolation to one of connection. Here, amidst the crumbling walls and echoes of laughter long past, she begins to forge a newfound relationship with her mother's memory. As she reads, she realizes that her mother's strength resonates within her too. Clara's journey becomes not just about uncovering the past, but also about embracing the woman she is meant to become. With a growing sense of purpose, Clara knows this castle is a realm where she can unravel her family's history and weave her identity together from the strands of joy and sorrow passed down to her. The journals are guiding lights, illuminating the path to healing and acceptance. Clara rises, clutching the journal tightly to her heart, determined to delve deeper into the castle's secrets. There lies a tapestry of stories waiting to be lived and understood, a journey where Clara begins to see herself reflected in the ink of her mother's life. Stepping forward, she embraces the promise of forging ahead, ready to transform her legacy into something beautiful, significant, and wholly her own. As Clara spends hours lost in her mother's journals, the air grows electric with anticipation. Each entry unveils the complexities of her mother's life, ambitions intertwined with the burdens of reality, love tinged with loss. The rooms of the castle, once merely silent witnesses, now echo the vibrant spirit of her mother. Clara's heart beats as she uncovers stories that resonate within her, intertwining their lives despite the chasm of years and choices that separated them. Days blend together as Clara immerses herself deeper, her emotions oscillating between joy and sorrow. She clings to the thread of hope as she absorbs her mother's dreams and regrets, learning of a longing that transcended her. Each revelation peels back layers of misunderstanding, reshaping Clara's perception from that of a hurt daughter to a woman partaking in her mother's journey. There's a newfound understanding that shines brightly within her, a realization that the pain of abandonment stems from decisions made not in malice, but from a desire to give Clara a better future. But within the depths of the journals, Clara stumbles upon a tantalizing hint, a reference to a hidden chamber in the castle, a place where her mother kept cherished memories and forgotten dreams. Each word prickles her skin with the urge to uncover this secret space. What might she find there? Could it hold the key to fully understanding her mother and consequently herself? Determined, Clara roams the vast halls, driven by a blend of excitement and urgency. Each creak of the floorboards and draft of air seems to coax her forward. She moves through the castle, her heart fluttering as she searches for clues left behind. Finally, she spots a narrow staircase spiraling down into shadows. Her pulse quickens. This has to lead to the chamber. With a firm grip on the banister, Clara descends, the air cool against her skin. She reaches the bottom and finds herself in a dim, musty room, the walls cloaked in darkness. Despite the disarray, There is a strange beauty to the forgotten space. Dust motes float lazily through slivers of light, illuminating fragments of history tucked away. In the far corner sits a sturdy wooden trunk, a tantalizing promise of what may lie within. Kneeling, Clara brushes away the cobwebs and dust that have gathered over time. With cautious fingers, she unlatches the trunk, heart pounding in anticipation. As the lid creaks open, she discovers its contents: letters bound in fading ribbons, sketches and photographs, a treasure trove of her mother's life waiting to be uncovered. These remnants could unveil unspoken truths, connecting her to the woman she had long wished to know. Clara lifts a bundle of letters, each written in her mother's flowing script. They transport her into the warmth of her mother's heart, revealing stories that spiral through love, hope, and profound loneliness. The correspondence depicts a vibrant young woman who dreamed of a life filled with adventure and joy, yet faced the harsh realities of circumstance. Clara's breath hitches as a letter reveals the name of a love once cherished, a connection deepened through the ink of longing. Tears fill Clara's eyes as she realizes her mother's dreams were often overshadowed by the sacrifices she made. In that moment, she sees her not as the figure of abandonment she once resented, but as a resilient woman who fought against the odds. Each written word carries the weight of her mother's history and dreams, opening Clara's eyes to the undying bond they share, a bond now strewn with understanding rather than bitterness. Among the contents, Clara finds a photograph that freezes time. Her mother, radiant and carefree, smiles brightly at the camera, her eyes alight with dreams. Clara touches the photograph gently, as if trying to bridge the distance between them. Another entry reveals her mother's love for art, a passion she cultivated in secret. Clara retrieves a small sketchbook, leafing through its pages filled with poignant drawings, each line drawn with her mother's trembling longing. Page after page reveals not just her mother's hidden talent, but also glimpses into her dreams. Clara discovers a drawing of a garden bursting with wildflowers, vibrant and alive. Suddenly it clicks. This garden, the one she had seen outside the castle, this wasn't just a mere representation of flora. It was a metaphor for her mother's own dreams. Clara feels a surge of determination. She resolves to nurture those dreams, to breathe life into them and allow them to flourish. With newfound clarity, Clara emerges from the hidden chamber, her spirit transformed. What had begun as a journey to unearth her mother's past had turned into an exploration of her own identity. The threads of their lives weave together in a beautiful tapestry, painted with love and sacrifice. The castle is no longer a monument of isolation. It stands as a testament to resilience, a bridge linking mother and daughter across generations. As Clara steps outside, guided by the light of understanding, the garden blooms before her, vibrant wildflowers swaying gently in the breeze. They mirror her heart, once confined, now bursting with hope. This legacy is hers to embrace and grow, a beautiful intertwining of past and present. Clara feels her mother's spirit with her, urging her to live fully and authentically, to foster the resilience that has been passed down through generations. The castle behind her reverberates with the echoes of their shared journey, urging Clara forward, to not only transform her own life, but to honor her mother's dreams in the process. With this vow in her heart, Clara knows her journey is only just beginning. The burdens of the past no longer weigh heavily upon her. They are remolded into a foundation of strength and purpose. She savors the promise of a future ripe with possibilities, an unwavering testament to love that transcends time and space. It's a beautiful gift, one that empowers her to sculpt her own legacy, building on the dreams her mother had yearned to fulfill. The wildflowers dance in encouragement. Clara steps forward, heart wide open, ready to embrace the endless horizons awaiting her. As Clara takes her first steps into the garden, the vivid colors of the wildflowers explode around her, each petal drenched in the sunlight, painting a breathtaking scene of reclamation and renewal. She inhales the scent of earth and blossoms, a fragrant reminder that life can flourish even in the remnants of what has been abandoned. With every breath, she feels her mother's presence, an invisible guide urging her to embrace the gifts of love, loss, and legacy that have shaped her journey. Clara kneels in the soft soil, her fingers sifting through the damp earth, feeling a connection that is profound and genuine. Each touch symbolizes a rebirth, not just of the garden but of Clara herself. Clara envisions herself nurturing this garden, envisioning how the flowers will flourish under her care, just as she intends to let her own heart blossom. The forgotten space transforms before her eyes, the barren patches somehow bursting with potential, mirroring her own journey from isolation to belonging. The garden is not just a collection of flowers. It is the tangible manifestation of the dreams that have long been dormant, waiting for someone to bring them to life. In this moment, Clara understands that her mother's dreams do not rest solely in the past, but continue to thrive through her. Days turn into weeks as Clara tends to the garden with unwavering dedication, planting new seeds among the wildflowers, pulling weeds that threaten to suffocate the beauty. As she digs and plants, she reflects on her mother's struggles and triumphs, gently weaving them into her own narrative. Each day spent in the garden becomes a meditation, a space where Clara dialogues with her mother through the rhythm of her labor. Memories of her mother surface as she experiences moments of joy and heartache while shaping the earth with her hands. She transforms the garden from a wild overgrowth into a flourishing refuge, restoring hope not only for herself but also for the dreams that have been intertwined with her mother's legacy. The castle stands watchfully behind her, its walls echoing with the laughter of memories. Encouraging Clara as she moves forward, she begins to invite others into this space of beauty, a neighbor here, a friend there. Together they bring laughter and camaraderie into the garden, planting flowers and sharing stories. Clara watches, her heart swelling, as children run through the wildflower paths, their laughter mingling with the joyful humming of bees and the whispers of the wind. She sees the vibrancy spread, realizing that the garden has become a living poem, a tapestry not just of her history, but woven into the lives of those around her. One day, as the sun dips low in the sky and casts golden rays over the garden, Clara decides to pay a visit to her mother's grave. It is a small stone marker nestled under a tall oak tree that provides soothing dappled shade. Clara carries a bouquet of wildflowers freshly picked from the garden, colors spilling vibrantly against the muted backdrop of the granite. Kneeling before the grave, she arranges the flowers with care, each bloom representing a lesson learned and a moment cherished. "Mom," she whispers, her voice barely rising above the rustling leaves. "I hope you can feel everything I've done. This garden is for you. It's become our garden, a testament to the love and resilience you taught me. I'm changing my story because of you." Clara feels a wave of relief wash over her, as if a weight she had carried all her life has been released. She imagines her mother smiling down, sensing the profound bond they share through this act of homage. The garden embodies more than flora. They are threads weaving their lives together, creating a rich legacy forged through time and trials. Inspired, Clara vows to continue nurturing the space not just as a task but as a tribute, a living connection to her mother's spirit and to the promise of new beginnings. Over the next few months, the garden flourishes even more. Clara transforms it into a community space where the locals gather for picnics, workshops, and celebrations. It becomes a hub of joy, laughter, and shared stories, each life touched, another root intertwined within the soil. Clara organizes family days where children paint pots for flowers or help plant seeds, ensuring they feel the same connection she discovered. Yet it is more than a garden. It is a sanctuary, an extension of Clara herself where love grows, nurtured by shared experiences. People begin to visit not just for the flowers, but for the rich tapestry of community that Clara has cultivated. She welcomes the elderly who share their wisdom, the children bubbling with laughter, and families who find refuge in the cultivated beauty. The garden, now alive with vibrant colors and laughter, stands as a reminder that dreams do not have to remain dormant. As the seasons change, the garden continues to evolve, and so does Clara. She senses a growth within her heart, a maturing that comes through understanding her mother's journey and reconciling it with her own. Clara learns to embrace the ups and downs of life with grace, embodying the resilience she discovered in her mother's journals. Every time she plants a seed, she plants hope. Every new bloom is a representation of healing, love, and a willingness to forge a future where despair has no place. One afternoon, as the sun dips below the horizon, she gathers the community around her in the garden, candles flickering against the backdrop of twilight. Clara stands before them, filled with gratitude. "Thank you all for being part of this journey," she shares, her voice steady yet emotional. "This is not just a garden. It's a space where our connections flourish. It's a testament to resilience, love, and the bonds we share." As her words resonate, Clara looks around at the faces illuminated by candlelight and feels a sense of belonging wash over her. In that moment, Clara recognizes that her journey has come full circle. She has transformed her past, a legacy born from loss, into a vibrant community, honoring the love she once doubted. She smiles softly, knowing that her mother's spirit lives on through her, embedded in every flower that blooms and every friendship that flourishes. In that beautiful garden, stitched together with resilience and hope, Clara finally feels at peace. As the candles flicker gently in the evening breeze, she whispers a silent promise to her mother. "I'll carry your stories with me always, nurturing them to life just as you nurtured me." And in that promise, Clara finds her own redemption, a future painted with love, gratitude, and an unbreakable connection to the woman who birthed her dreams. Sometimes all a child needs is to be heard. As Clara observes the flickering candlelight around her, warmth courses through her. The garden, once a mere collection of plants, has blossomed into a vibrant community filled with laughter, connection, and shared stories. This evening, beneath a tapestry of stars, the air is infused with the scents of blooming flowers and the joyful sounds of children playing, a harmony that speaks directly to Clara's heart. The weeks that follow the community gathering transform the garden into a center of creativity and collaboration. Clara plans workshops and activities that bring neighbors together. Children paint pots, families plant flowers, and the garden becomes a lively canvas of colors and laughter. Clara embraces her role, guiding the community with patience and warmth. Each interaction is a seed planted in the hearts of those around her, fostering deeper connections and inspiring them to share their own stories. One sunny Saturday, during the inaugural garden festival, Clara stands proudly at the entrance decorated with flowers and colorful banners. The excitement electrifies the air. Children dart about, shuffling between booths displaying homemade crafts, baked goods, and art projects. Clara notices Emily, the once shy girl, confidently leading a station with a radiant smile. It fills Clara with pride to see the transformation. Emily's bravery mirrors the growth flourished within the garden. As the festival progresses, Clara moves through the crowd, greeting everyone, sharing the significance of the flowers and their meanings. She speaks of their resilience, love, and the power of community. Each story she shares resonates with the attendees, reflecting how their lives intertwine within this garden. As daylight begins to fade, Clara prepares for a storytelling session under the grand oak tree illuminated by soft fairy lights. The crowd gathers, eager for connection and shared experiences. Clara stands before them filled with gratitude. Tonight, we celebrate not just our garden, but the stories that have brought us here together. One by one, the community members take turns sharing tales of their lives, struggles, triumphs, and the spirit of resilience. Clara feels her own heart swell as each voice echoes the shared threads of humanity. They reveal the fabric of their lives, displaying the vulnerabilities and strengths that define them. Clara senses how their stories weave together a rich tapestry of experiences, and she begins to see the garden as a living testament to their collective journeys. Then Mr. Thompson, an elderly man who had often sat alone on a nearby bench, steps forward. Clara can see apprehension in his eyes, but determination fuels his resolve. "I've been meaning to share something," he begins, his voice shaking with emotion. "I lost my wife last year, and my days were heavy with loneliness. But coming here, I found life among the flowers and laughter. You've made this place a sanctuary." As he speaks, Clara feels the weight of his words. The crowd listens intently, empathy sparkling in their eyes. His vulnerability resonates deeply, showing that experiences of loss unite them all. Clara's heart aches yet swells with gratitude. Mr. Thompson's story exemplifies the purpose of the garden, a refuge for every individual who seeks connection and understanding. As applause erupts after his heartfelt testimony, Clara feels deeply moved by the impact of the garden on those present. She realizes that their gathering is part of something much larger than herself. It is a blossoming community that offers hope and comfort to all. When the stories have been shared and the festival begins to wind down, Clara stands once more amidst the blooming flowers, feeling the warmth of acceptance surrounding her. In this sacred space, she understands that she is part of a continuum interwoven with the lives of everyone who ventures into the garden. Now, with a vision blooming in her heart, Clara imagines expanding the garden into a dedicated children's corner where young ones can learn, explore, and find their own voices. She wants to create storytelling nooks, art installations, and perhaps a small stage for performances, ensuring the garden remains a sanctuary of growth and imagination. The next day, Clara leaps into action, rallying the community for assistance. As neighbors gather, she feels a sense of belonging wash over her. Together, they cultivate the earth deeper, planting seeds of hope and creativity. The garden, she realizes, now thrives as a living entity that symbolizes their shared stories and dreams. As the evenings pass, Clara reflects on her journey. She pulls inspiration from the resilience blooming around her, and she finds purpose not just in tending the plants but in nurturing the community that has begun to flourish. Each flower, every shared laugh, and every story exchanged enrich the soil of their connection, resulting in a blossoming garden where love triumphs over despair. As twilight descends one final time, Clara stands at the entrance of the garden, her heart bursting with appreciation. She gazes at the thriving greenery surrounding her, each plant like a story waiting to be told. She whispers a quiet promise. "Thank you for this gift of life, love, and community. I will continue to nurture it just as you have nurtured me." In that moment, she acknowledges the profound power of shared resilience. The garden embodies not just her dreams, but also a legacy of connection that each person contributes to. Clara knows that love, like the garden, must be tended to flourish and grow. And with that knowledge firmly rooted within her, Clara smiles, ready to embrace the ever-expanding journey that lies ahead. With a renewed sense of purpose, Clara takes her dream of a dedicated children's corner to heart. The next morning, she gathers the community in the garden, excitement rippling through the air as she shares her vision. Imagine a place where our children can discover their creativity, where stories come alive and friendships bloom. Faces light up with enthusiasm, and Clara feels a surge of energy infuse the gathering. One by one, community members step forward, offering their skills and ideas. Sarah, a local artist, suggests creating colorful murals that reflect the stories of the children in the neighborhood. Mr. Thompson offers to build small benches where kids can sit and read. Others bring forth ideas for storytelling sessions and interactive art displays. Clara watches as energy and creativity unfold, feeling the very pulse of community solidarity. In the days that follow, the garden undergoes a magical transformation. Families bring supplies, and laughter mixes with the sounds of hammers, paintbrushes, and cheerful chatter. Clara leads the way, enthusiastically guiding their efforts. She experiences a profound sense of belonging as she works side by side with neighbors. It's as if each nail hammered into place, each stroke of paint, and each new flower planted strengthens the bonds among them. As the children's corner takes shape, Clara pays close attention to the little details. She envisions storytelling nooks nestled among the flowers with soft pillows where children can curl up with books. Brightly colored flags flutter above, lending a sense of whimsy as they sway in the breeze. Clara even decides to plant flowers that attract butterflies, believing that these delicate creatures will inspire the children's imaginations. One afternoon, Clara sits cross-legged on a blanket with a group of children, sharing tales of adventures and dreams. Their wide eyes reflect curiosity and wonder as she weaves stories of brave explorers and magical lands. The laughter of the children fills the air, echoing through the garden as they imagine journeys of their own. Each word she speaks plants a seed of creativity within them, fostering a love for storytelling and imagination. As the corner nears completion, Clara announces an opening celebration, a community event to honor the children's space together. The excitement is palpable, and everyone pitches in to make the celebration special. Neighbors gather to prepare homemade treats, and children practice songs and skits to perform. On the day of the opening, Clara stands at the entrance, her heart racing. The garden is a kaleidoscope of colors, teeming with activity. Balloons bob in the gentle breeze and vibrant flags flutter overhead. Families arrive, greeted by the inviting aromas of baked goods and fresh lemonade. Clara feels a mix of nerves and hope. She has poured her heart into this corner, and now it is a culmination of dreams, a place for children to explore and thrive. As the celebration unfolds, Clara watches the children jump from activity to activity, some painting, others crafting butterflies, and a few gathered in the storytelling nook listening to tales shared by their peers. Clara realizes that this space is already alive, buzzing with energy and creativity. When it's time for Clara to speak, she feels the warmth of the crowd's anticipation. Standing in front of her community, she takes a deep breath, her heart full. Thank you all for coming today. This garden is a testament to what we can achieve together. It's not just a place for flowers to grow, it's a sanctuary for our children to dream, create, and connect. I believe that nurturing our imaginations is just as vital as nurturing our gardens. Applause erupts from the crowd, filling Clara with warmth. She gazes across the sea of smiling faces, each grateful for the connection that has formed. In this corner of the garden, she sees the essence of resilience taking root, not just in the plants, but in the hearts of every child and adult present. As sunset paints the sky with vibrant colors, Clara feels the sweet embrace of fulfillment. Her vision has come alive, intertwining their collective dreams. She knows this garden, this children's corner, is just the beginning. A blossoming legacy where stories will flourish for generations to come. Clara stands tall, surrounded by laughter, love, and the promise of hope, ready to nurture this future woven with creativity, connection, and an ever-expanding sense of belonging.